The story is there's going to be a major DC shakeup. Paramount wins the bid. Again, it's been out there for a little bit. And here it is again. Right now, 3 major companies are engaged in a bidding war for Warner Brothers Discovery: Paramount, Skydance, Netflix, and Comcast. Okay. Old news, but yet relevant news. Of the 3, Paramount Skydance is generally considered the most likely winner, and the LA Times reported yesterday that they've increased their bid for the studio with thanks to backing from Middle East sovereign wealth funds, including Saudi Arabia. Paramount does emerge the winner, though. Expect a big shakeup at Burbank, especially over at DC Studios. According to a report at Puck News, the potential merger will reportedly see studios co-chiefs James Gunn, Peter Safran have less control of what gets made at DC Studios. The article states, as things now stand at Warner Brothers, James Gunn, Peter Safran control who directs DC movies. Choices they make after they have developed scripts to their liking. It sounds like change might be in the wind indeed if the Ellisons prevail. The article adds that Paramount Pictures co-chair Josh Greenstein says he'd be more than happy to work with Weapons director Zach Kreger on making a DC movie if the merger were to happen, and recently visited Prague to try and court Kreger. They say, I'm told Kreger discussed with Greenstein his desire to write and direct a movie set in a particular corner of the DC universe. Which character or characters are involved is unclear, and Greenstein said he would be more than happy to make that happen if possible. Rumors said that the project was titled Henchman and would follow a low-level henchman in Gotham City who incapacitates, thank you very much, Batman through a stroke of luck. After this, he begins to gain notoriety in Gotham's crime underworld. Kreger has previously said the favorite thing he's written was a script for a potential film based on a DC property. The new DC universe has only just begun rolling out, with Creature Commandos a year ago, followed by Superman, Peacemaker Season 2. Next year sees Lantern, Supergirl, and Clayface all 3 have already completed filming. Okay. This confuses me. It confuses me because we've been covering this story so much over the last couple of weeks, right? That it makes some sense now. Because remember, there was that report that the Saudis were going to get it, and if they did, they were going to bring back Zack Snyder and this and this and that. And you understand what, because the question was, how is like a foreign government going to buy an American studio, right? And now this makes it more clear. They're not going to buy it, but they're going to be partners in buying it with Paramount, who's going to take their money. Also makes sense when you look at the relationship the Saudis have with Trump and that Ellison has with Trump, right? So
exactly.
We'll kind of collectively having conversations, and it'd also be easy to pass through the government as far as all the legalities and things too. So that all makes sense as far as on paper how this is going to work. Now, the political side of it, as far as politics go, when it comes to James Gunn's politics, to Rick Ellison's politics, if that is the sole decision, why? I think that's an error. I will say I don't necessarily know if that's just the reasoning, though. I think that there is something to be said about someone who buys a company and says, okay, well, you guys did it this way. I don't know if I want 2 people in charge of our biggest comic book property that I don't like their plan. And so I'm buying this. I'm not going to fire them, but I'm not going to let them run the plan. I want to go out to a guy that did Weapons, and I want to do that. And I can understand it, but I think that if you have, this plan in place already, the smart thing at first would be, okay, you got Supergirl, you got these things. Stick with the plan for a year. Let's see if your plan makes money. If your plan makes money, well, then let's do it again next year and see if the second year it makes money. I wouldn't give him carte blanche as far as years go, but I said, here's year 1, here's year 2. I wouldn't hit them in the kneecaps yet, though, just because. So I don't know. Where do you stand on all this?
No, I completely agree with this. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, too, when we first were discussing everything. Of if there's a plan in place, let's see how these chips fall first. Whenever there's some kind of shakeup, regardless of what kind of corporation it is, whoever comes in wants to put their stamp on it, right? They want to do their own thing. They want to make their legacy. And a lot of times that comes with their ideas of changing the company for good, whether you agree with it or not. They have a vision and they want to see it through. Now, because they have had a successful film, but maybe not so much success with, how Peacemaker went or other things like that, there have been people who have been saying, oh, DC's in trouble or this, that, or the other. We've only seen a couple of DC projects under this little regime. So to me, it is a moment of, hey, you guys have a timetable now. And I do want to talk to you and I do want to have input with you, but let's see how this plays out. I'm not a fan of knee jerk reactions. I don't think that any bump in the road should cause you to completely like reroute. I'm not a big fan of the fail fast kind of method.
Right.
I think you go, hey, so we learned something from this and we can make adjustments if it makes sense, but let's not be hyper reactive. And that's my big concern is that they'll come in, gut some stuff, and we don't get to see anything blossom when it was just starting out. But again, that's all speculation. Who knows what they're going to do?
Let me tell you a true story. So we are having a holiday party at my place, and we're putting together a really big feast. And thank goodness that we have ButcherBox. ButcherBox, it is just the absolute best. You can spend less time shopping and more time celebrating. So what's ButcherBox? Well, here's what they do. They deliver over 100 premium protein choices straight to your door, including 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, pork-raised crate-free, and wild-caught seafood. Now, for nearly a decade, ButcherBox has led the industry with meat and seafood that's antibiotic-free, hormone-free, and independently verified. It's a cleaner, more trustworthy version of what you'd find at the grocery store delivered right to your door. And man, we got so much chicken. I got a really nice steak. The beef that we made, my wife made these meatballs, and we couldn't believe this. They were so juicy, tender. It was amazing, absolutely incredible. So, what's great about them too is that every box ships free always, and includes members-only perks like recipe, inspiration, tips, and exclusive deals to help you make the most of every meal. I know it does for our household. So as an exclusive offer, our listeners can get free steak in every box for a year. That alone is worth it, trust me. And if that's not enough, you get $20 off your first box when you go to butcherbox.com/Kristian. That's right. Your choice of filet mignon, New York strip, ribeye in every box for entire year, plus $20 off your first box and free shipping always. butcherbox.com/Kristian. Do not forget to use our link so they know that we sent you.
We really don't know. And I think that look, Gunn's a smart dude. He's been preparing for this and saying, all right, well, I don't know. He doesn't know either what to expect. You know, he's probably had conversations with certain people, but I think the inevitable is that Paramount's going to get this thing.
Yeah.
So I just feel that if you already have, because the problem that Ellison and these people are going to run into if they get rid of Gunn and Safran, or they didn't, this report doesn't say they're getting rid of them, but they said they're going to diminish their role.
Yeah.
But the problem they're going to have is if they, let's say they put Supergirl out and Supergirl becomes a massive hit, and then Lanterns is one of their biggest television shows, and Clayface is a surprise hit, then they're going to be in a tricky situation. They're going to be in the position that Gunn and Safran would have been in if Shazam 2 would have done well, if The Flash would have done well, and if Aquaman 2 would have hit $1 billion. That's the same position that those guys would have been. But those movies did not perform. So the same, maybe that's what Ellison and these peeps are saying. Like, look, Superman's numbers were good, but not great.
Sure.
So, and Peacemaker 2 didn't do great. So we don't see the numbers that are proving to us that these shows and movies are going to do so well that we can't maneuver around it. But they're going to find themselves in a pickle if those things really, you're going to have your group of people that are going, no, keep what Gunn and Safran are doing, cut it out in the same way you did with Snyder. But I just think the constant facelifts of DC is exhausting.
It is. And
Yeah.
I think that's part of the problem too, is we then for our average moviegoer go, wait, who's Batman? What's going on? Who are these people? Why am I seeing another origin story? You know, it's really tiring to see this whole universe rebooted, because The Flash and everything was just a couple years ago. And I mean, I wasn't crazy about that movie, but I still kind of wanted to know what was going on with that world. I'm glad we're moving on to other stuff, but it is just really ridiculous that we just keep reinventing this over and over again. And I'd like to see something actually play out for once. I would like the promise of one of those Easter eggs, you know, like seeing the Justice League, seeing Darkseid, seeing something play out. And I'm really excited about that. And I just want them to just, you know, calm down and let it happen.
It's
That'd be so
true. And
nice.
it's so funny that you don't get people don't even know what's happening. I see somebody in the comment section who's defending, he's like, no, Guns things off to a great start. It made so much money, made 150 million. We don't know that. There's Forbes that says it does, and then there's another report that says it doesn't. It very well could have, and 150 million dollars. That's a big profit if that's the case. They don't tell us the truth. I'm not telling you that it didn't make 150. Like I said, very well could have. But there's other reports that said it's lost money. So or it just broke even.
Yeah.
They know, we don't. But nonetheless, Peacemaker, we can agree, just did not deliver in the way that he wanted to. He was touting it as the best thing he ever did, and this, and it just, the excitement, even if it made $150 million, and let's hope that it did, right? Because I think it was a hopeful movie that I think warranted people feeling good about Superman. So I hope that Danny O'Malley in the comment section is right, and that it actually did make $150 million.
Yeah. Well, and they never tell us truly like
They never
budgets
really
for
tell you.
marketing and everything too.
They don't-
Because
they
they'll
don't
give us
really
a filmmaking
right.
budget, and then we're like, but what did you spend to promote this? What else did
100%.
you?
What kind of tax breaks did you get or didn't get?
Exactly.
We don't know. But what we can say is that the excitement on the next project landed like a fart in an elevator. It did not hype up the DCU in the way that they needed it to. It got a lot of DC hardcore fans, but that it became like, to where I feel Superman, I was worried about it becoming just a James Gunn thing where every other thing was joke, and it just like, oh, that was a James Gunn movie and not just Superman. But Superman found his way through it, and there's James Gunn stuff in it, but you need it to be when it's a movie. Peacemaker 2, I couldn't finish. It was just every from the second that orgy hit, I'm like, oh, this is just I'm okay.
I liked it more than you did,
Yeah.
but I did that finale though. I went, huh,
I
okay.
didn't see it. Yeah,
It didn't feel. It was just especially because it was potentially the final season, and so it just felt like that moment of, now I have to not know what's happening, or you're going to connect it in the movies. I thought that wasn't what we were going to do here.
Right.
I don't
Which
know
is
if I like that.
crazy because I loved the first season. Like I couldn't
it's
go.
amazing.
I had to like I couldn't miss it. Couldn't miss it. I just kind of gave up. I was like, I don't really care anymore. And that's going to be an issue that not just James Gunn has. That's an issue comic book movies have right now. Comic books
100%.
in general.
Yeah.
It used to be, what do we got next? What's coming out? Now it's like, all right, what's out next and why do I care? And that's a bummer that we're there, but that's where we are. It happened with Westerns. It happens with horror films. It happens with science fiction. And that's just where comic book movies are right now. It's not a dead genre, even by the slightest. Deadpool and Wolverine will show that, and other movies will show that. But you've got to really get people excited now in order to get them in that theater.
Well, and you can't just depend on the IP alone. You have to provide a really great story, really wonderful acting, effects that blow your mind. It needs to be an experience. Just like how, to your point, we all got sick of zombies. Zombies were everywhere. And if you did a mediocre zombie story, why the hell am I watching it?
It's true. And look, I respect the people who are hopeful, and like Buster Barnes out there. He's like, just because you didn't watch it doesn't mean it did badly. Unfortunately, the ratings just weren't great, my friend. But
they did deteriorate over time too, you guys.
They
I know
ate
it
shit.
started high, but they really petered off.
But I'm glad you liked it, Buster. That's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I'm good, and I see that you love, and you're there and you're supporting it, and that's amazing. And you should. And I'm being also saying, I think it is a mistake for them to cut the legs out of Saffron and Gunn. I think you let them do their thing for a little bit. But right now, they need something big. That's why I said a little while ago, and they couldn't have, maybe they did see this comment. I don't know. I thought that it was always kind of known that Zaslav wanted to sell this off. But to go small in the way that they are right now with Clayface and even Supergirl, which is not, I know it's like close to like $200 million movie or whatever they're saying it's close to be, but she is not as big of a character as Wonder Woman or The Flash or, Aquaman or Batman. I just figured you'd want to come out with your all-stars to say, you can't touch us right now. Like and I think that maybe it's because he thought he had more room to play than he did. Because maybe if he could rethink it, he would have led with the big dogs quick.
Sure. I think part of the strategy too, though, at least to me, was, hey, a lot of you, even if you don't read comics, do know these characters. So why don't I try to introduce you to some new friends who have
Right.
really cool stories and really
Right.
fascinating things happen to them? And then we're going to hit you with those heavy hitters so that, oh my gosh, I love these new people, but then also all of my old friends come back and I get to hear those cool stories. Great. I
Right.
always bring it up, but it's that kind of Justice League Unlimited thing,
Yeah.
but in reverse of let me introduce you to some weird like C story characters who you're going to fall in love with. And then we come back to Diana, and then we come back to Jon Stewart.
I agree with you, and I think that it allows it. You got to get casual people excited about this because what I
Yeah.
will say, he got a lot of casual people excited about Superman.
Oh,
He
yeah.
did. Like my uncle, who never goes to see comic book movies anymore. Is like, I want to go see the new Superman movie. A lot of people went out. That's he did that. And so again, to give credit now to Buster, which he says that I give 100% to, and I agree with. What we are leaving out of this equation is Man of Tomorrow, right? Which is the sequel.
Yeah.
That is, and I agree with Buster here, out of all the movies I just mentioned, the most important out of all of them. That's the one, because if Superman does indeed, if people loved it, let's say it made $150 million, and we can say, all right, we all agree it made $150 million. Well, maybe Man of Tomorrow, if that makes 300 million, that gives you the you can't touch us thing. If it makes that money back on the sequel, then it's like, okay, because if you're Ellison and you start making these movies with Craigers and all these other things too, and you're going outside, you telling Gunn to do these things he doesn't want to do, and then Supergirl hits and Man of Tomorrow becomes a mega movie, and then you get rid of Gunn, well, then your
Oh.
fan base is going to turn on you.
Exactly. Which they are in a position, though, where it can be either, hey, we heard the fans and we know that you guys want to change, or,
Yeah.
hey, you know what? We do want to champion these guys for you. So honestly, for them, maybe not financially at first, but it's a win-win situation of
Right.
making sure that they're in the position of either, no, we're making sure that the comic characters that you want to see on screen are being taken care of, or, hey, you love that this is happening, we're going to keep it going for
Right.
you, which
Yeah.
totally makes sense and is great for them.
It is. Yeah.
I do want to clarify too, real quick, because I know Shadow Jester in the chat was saying this. I want my movies and TV to like kind of connect. I
Mhm.
want my average moviegoer though to not have to do the homework and still be excited about
100%.
a movie.
Well, that's
You
what
know?
hurt Marvel.
So-
That's what hurt Marvel.
Yeah, exactly. So if my dad isn't watching Peacemaker, I
Right.
don't want him to be confused when he does go see Man of Tomorrow,
Right.
because he loved Superman, but he was like, oh, you know, Peacemaker's not for me, because season
It's not for me.
one.
Right.
He's not, despite how I talk, he's not a big swearing kind of person. And so he's like, this show's not for me. I'm not going to watch it.
And
So
so you shouldn't
that's the
give people
issue.
homework. Yeah, and that's why they're putting it
Yeah.
in. And that's the other thing. It's like, people don't listen sometimes. I didn't say overall just because I didn't finish that it's not good. It wasn't working for me in general.
Mhm.
What I'm saying, whether people found it good or not, it just didn't resonate with people in the same way that the first season did. The ratings showed that, and other things too. I'm not telling you that you didn't like it. You very well could have liked it. A lot of
Yeah.
people did like it. A lot of people, and Kris just said she liked it more than say I did. I didn't, and I haven't watched the full season. I can tell you what I saw was not resonating with me. Reiterate that. What I was watching, I did not enjoy watching it anymore, so I stopped watching it. Didn't say it was bad, just didn't care. That's the difference. So your example doesn't really fit, Crashing Coyote. All right. So I'm curious what you guys think in general. What's going to happen in this whole situation? You feel that this is going to be first of all, is Paramount even going to get it? And Ellison, is he going to make these moves? And I guess before we even move on to this, Kris, the other thing I kind of casually mentioned was with Eggers, for weapons, and it's not a movie that you've seen yet, but this idea, they're already taking meetings with him, right? So that's the thing that's confusing to me, as I said in the beginning of this thing, that's really confusing is they got to be so confident that they're getting this. They're taking meetings already, and they want this thing to go through, and they want him. I understand going after him. I think he's brilliant. I think he's a superstar. I think he's going to be doing things. I love the way he tells stories. I think he's a superstar. And so if he's got an idea in the DC world, I just feel like it'd be one of these things where let's get our guys who are running this thing first. Let's get a meeting with Gunn and Safran after we buy it and say, okay, guys, look, we really want to do a movie with Craigers. I keep saying Eggers, but Craigers. We want to do a movie with him. Here's the deal. He's got this. We want to do this movie. And they go, well, we don't, it's not on our plan. Tough shit. Figure out a way to make it part of your plan. I can understand it. If they want to do that, but they say, how do you make it? Like, work and collaborate, right?
Yeah.
Saying, this is a guy that everyone loves talking about. He's one of the hot directors, but he's got a great take. We think you're going to like his take too. Gunn comes back because we don't like his take. Like I said, I don't care. Figure out a way to make it work. That's what Gunn and Safran are going to run into now. And that sucks, but that's the way it is. How do you feel?
Well, and I didn't see Weapons. I'm going to, one of my friends is staying with us for Christmas, and she was like, I'll tell you when to not watch that scene, the one you warned me about.
Yes.
So I'm finally going to watch
you won't
it.
be able to watch. Okay.
But I'm excited about it. And I'm familiar with him because of sketch comedy stuff, like White as Kids You Know. And I think that he's really sharp. And obviously people are talking about him a lot.
Yeah.
You can find a place for him. This is the thing, there is a story that is right for every person to tell. At the end of the day, your own voice matters and you have a story to tell, no matter what. So they can find something for him, especially because he comes to stuff with such a vision, with such a perspective. And again, you have so many different characters within this universe that you can do some really wild stuff. I mean, he could do something weird like Animal Man or something and have some really fun takes on it.
Yeah. I mean, it is going to be like when we talked about this story last time. This is a fully developing story that is not going anywhere anytime soon, and it's just going to get bigger and bigger by the day. So the fact that there's so many different, like Puck News was the first one to report this, but then like Collider picked it up and Dark Horizons picked it up, and now it's getting to a place because this is essentially the same story that we talked about 2-3 weeks ago. It's just getting more real now.
Exactly.
So we'll see what happens, but I'm very curious to what you guys think about all of it. Please put your thoughts in there. Please and thank you. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel if you haven't done that already, and subscribe to the Clips channel, because if you miss some of our stuff and you can't watch the full show, you can check it on the Clips channel.